He got problems, she got problems, only I got 411 problems. Hey, hi, what's up, y'all? Welcome and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to another story time, and welcome to the interview from again, as I always start off when it's considering race, that the reason why you hear Caucasian people say it's always about race, because race doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect you. You are the majority, even though Elon has tried on repeat to prove that you guys are, the numbers are dwindling, you're coming down. In 2025, the Census Bureau, white people, Caucasian people made up 76% of the US. 2025. African American people made up 13%. Nobody is replacing you. You just need an excuse to be negative, mean, racist. Nobody is replacing you. We don't want to replace you. We don't want to be you. We want to be left alone. But as you see the things that actually goes viral and comes across the screen, because it's plenty of things that go on, it just doesn't go viral. But the things that do, the ones who I fear for my life, or I was scared, or I didn't understand what was going on, you're approaching the person that you fear your life from. Right. So anyway, this story takes place after I am let go from the neurology practice, and that will be in the carousel of bad bosses, because they literally had multiple bosses. It literally was a carousel. And the main boss that I said was going to tear the office apart did so. And then she left you high and dry. Again, when I say certain things, is not that, oh, I just know I'm going to be right. It's a blessing and a curse. If you ever watch him up, he will tell you it's a gift. It's a blessing and a curse. Because there are times when I want to be wrong, but it's like I literally see it. I literally put it together. And it's like, I will be God. But literally called it out, happened. Your office was flourishing, things was happening. Me and Nurse One was handling things. Me, Nurse One, and billing was holding things down. When you did not have a manager, we turned that office inside out and made it for the better. And you chose her, and she on you. Anyway, so now I'm looking for a job, and while I'm looking for a job, it's like my hair is like this. It was like my last getting my hair twisted, and this was before I knew that I could do my own hair. So at this point in time, like I'm paying around this time, like getting my hair twisted, including the hair, was $160. That was the cheapest price, and then that was the mid length, like so shoulder length type situation. So basically here, length, the longer you wanted, the more money, but I was always 160 me please, because that was the base price. Yeah, so that was before I know I could do my own situation. So I wish I knew sooner, because baby, the money that I would have been able to save, and I ain't have to get up and I ain't have to worry about none of that. I could have been doing my own thing on here. Never talk yourself out of things. Just keep trying, because literally, it took me a year to perfect. And that's with the twisting hair. I'm itching into trying the Kankalon hair. If I could try the Kankalon hair, baby, the colors that I would be wearing. Anyway. So yeah, so my hair is like this, but it's done by the Africans, right? I went to a braiding shop. So it's my last, like literally my last hoorah, because it's like, okay, I should be able to get a job. I should be able to get a job because I have experience. It does not flow that way anymore. It does not flow that way anymore. Do not quit your job unless you have another one. Make sure you have another one in place first before you even try to, because literally, even people who are in business and have degrees and masters have been looking for 6 months or more. Yeah. It's horrible out there. Because haven't you noticed that the unemployment rates and all that stuff never comes up anymore? Because he fired that lady. Because she was lying about the numbers, and she's not lying about the numbers. The economy sucks. But you're too racist to admit that until it starts affecting you and your pocket, which it has. Anyway, so yeah, so now I'm looking for a job, and it's like, okay, interview at the interview at the interview, something should pop off. And so this office was not neurology, but it was OBGYN and gynecology, basically. OB and GYN is gynecology. OB is obstetrics, and GYN is gynecology. So basically, office for basically females, but they mostly, they do both, but it was mostly on the GYN side instead of the obstetric side, which I was cool with, because at this point in time, it's like, I just need a job. And I'm willing to answer the phone and all that other ish at this point. Because I need to pay my bills. And it's like, it shouldn't be an issue with reference. It shouldn't be an issue with reference until I found out and went to another office that it was. Which made me think the rumors were true when it came down to what they were saying about, what did I call her? Strategic. The head doctor in strategic, because why was there an issue about you giving me a good reference? Because you were the same doctor who trusted me to pay me in advance and then trust me to come to work. So why was there an issue about giving me a good reference? Because I did my job. And what was on the separation notice was lack of work, which was a lie. Right. So anyway, so yeah, so this particular office is like, okay, cool. It was a satellite office from a main office that I actually attended. It was actually my OBGYN office, but it was a different location. It was a satellite location, so it wasn't the main office. I attended the main office. And so when I got the interview, it was like, ooh. And I'm the type of person that's gonna ask, because it's like, I like to put stuff out there. Eric would be like, girl, don't tell them nothing. And I was like, no. The way things work for me, I'd rather be upfront. I'd rather you have everything on the table, so you don't have to come back later and be like, well, you never said this. And since you never said this, we can't trust you, because there's always a look for when it comes down to African American people. There's always a stigma when it comes down to African American people. Like, you guys don't do the same stuff that we do. You actually do, but like I said, most of the time, because it's on ID channel, Nightline, Dateline type situation, you put it in a vlog form, put a little music behind it, you have different correspondence. Your crime is not as heinous as ours, which it's most of the time worse. Listening to those stories, they're worse. So just like at this point in time, Black women are being unalived by their husbands, so are white women. So are white women. At this point in time, there was quite a few actually, and there was one her husband, she actually ended up surviving. They were on a trip to Hawaii, and he was hitting her in the face with a rock, trying to take her out. And his claim was she was cheating. But you literally called your it's not funny. You literally called your son and told your son, like, I'm gonna take her out, because you thought your son wasn't going to testify in court against you. And you are a doctor. The other man who just, the wife, y'all are on a little kayak in the Bahamas, and there's a heinous storm, a big tropical storm coming, and she falls over. You're still in the kayak. She falls over with the boat keys and everything, and she can't swim. You can't find her. You don't know where she is. Her family says she's a strong swimmer. She watches and looks at everything before even going out. She looks at the weather. She looks at all this stuff before even going out on the water. So if a storm was coming, they would know that before going out on the water. But there's no proof of nothing because there's nobody. Her daughter, which is not his biological daughter, is saying something's not right. They're being unalive too. But you feel like as long as we are on the bottom, that you are better. And that's even when it comes down to the Patels too. As long as there's a concentration on African American people, I feel safe and I feel like we're better. But no, sweets, they're coming after you too. I just saw a video where it was like, oh, we need to do some reform when it comes down to third world countries. And I was like, oh, and it starts because it's always a cycle. Anyway, so I'm always upfront. So when I get into the interview and I'm sitting down, I can already tell. Now, mind you, the manager is not Caucasian, she's Hispanic. So you can barely speak fluent English. You have a heavy accent, and you can tell that your English is broken. But you have the job, so apparently you're qualified for it. So when you're talking, because grew up in a Gullah Geechee environment and speaking in Gullah Geechee dialect, as you would hear when you hear me go home to the festival, because I relax, I code switch when I'm in office, but when I go home, I relax, and you hear the Gullah Geechee, you hear the country. You hear my dialect. I'm used to thick accents, so I can hear and understand you. So I know how to code switch. I know how to do what I need to do when I'm in boardrooms, when I'm in business meetings, when I'm typing, when I'm telling my story times. I know how to do each and other. Either or. Or you hear me break down and be like, Lord have mercy, look at what's going on over there. What we finna do? And I didn't hear an accent until Los was like, there's an accent there. And I was like, I don't have an accent, but I'm so used to my own stuff. It's like, oh yeah. Like I've heard other people say it. Even my cousin's gamer's wife said when she first met our family, she was like, oh, I assumed everybody was from the islands because everybody has an accent. We don't hear it. So you have a heavy accent and I can understand you because I'm used to hearing heavy accents. So as I'm sitting down, you already have an attitude, like you can sense it. Again, especially African American women, because we are targets in most places, we sense it. We know it already. We see you. We see you. We notice the passive aggressive situation. And as I tell people, just because someone may treat you nice and you don't get that treatment doesn't mean somebody else doesn't get a different treatment from you. Dream to you, nightmare to other. So when I sit down and it's like, so What happened at your last job? So I can already tell you probably already talked to my job, right? Because you had an attitude. And so it's like there's no need for you to have an attitude. But if I'm showing up like literally and I'm telling you to call my job, because at this point in time, it's like you shouldn't have a reason to not call my job until I found out what you were doing. And then it was like, okay, let me switch up references and allow them to call billing instead of you calling the actual office. Now that may work, but then some of the doctors were calling him and you were sabotaging my career and you didn't think I know. So when I showed up, I don't know which story time that was in. It might have been in Carousel with Bad Bosses at the end. And I was telling Nurse One because Nurse One had already left too. Nurse One has changed professions and she's not even in healthcare anymore. Because it had gotten that horrible when it came down to going into offices. It's like nobody doesn't want to do that anymore. And I always get emails where I think you'll be a great fit for my medical assistant. I think you'll be a great fit for front office. No, no, I do not want to work with your nasty patients. And I do not want to work in your nasty office, especially if it's a big office. Because women are nasty. All of them. All of them. Including Black women. Some of you turn on your own kind. I'm not discriminating. Some of you are extremely nasty and disgusting and feel like you have power. I did not discriminate in that story time, in that playlist. Everybody gets the same treatment. If you nasty, I'm giving you a nasty review. I don't care what color your skin is. If you're nasty, you're nasty. Period. So, yeah, so all this time, it's like at this point in time, it's like I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like for me, there's no reason for you not to call the office because I didn't do anything to you, and it's on my separation notice, which I would take and to show as proof, like, hey, it wasn't because I wasn't doing my job. According to them, it was lack of work, which was a lie, which I knew, but yeah. So again, I don't ever trip about anything because I keep my karma plate clean. I go to the highest to make sure my karma plate is clean. What you do with your plate is your business because I don't want to eat off your plate. So when your plate starts to poison you and stuff starts happening and stuff starts falling apart and you sitting there like, what's going on? Check your karma plate. Yeah. So we're sitting in an interview and I'm sitting down. Like I said, I can tell like there's an attitude situation and I don't understand the attitude situation, but I still keep on my professional face. And so she was like, so tell me why you're not working. And so I was like, oh, according to the last office that I was in, there's lack of work. Is that so? Yes. Here's my separation notice. Or here's a copy of my separation notice. So you look at it and you spin it around and you're playing with your pen. You know how you know, the pen on and off. You're playing with your pen and you're looking at it. Because again, I also have gifts, so I can tell you've already talked to the office. You've already talked to the manager. You already talked to strategic. So what strategic is telling you is not matching up with what you put on this separation notice. But the simple fact that you feel like you're above, as long as you're above African American women, you're not gonna go with the flow of what's right. I'm gonna go with as long as I feel that I'm above. So now it's like, oh. Because the lie don't care who tell it. And I always tell people, like, if you're gonna lie, make sure you're a good one. Make sure you cover your bases. Because you're gonna have to remember all the previous lies to keep up with the lie. And I'm a pay attention, listen to you talk, documented type person. So when I see and hear what you're saying, and it's not adding up with what you're telling other people, something in the mix ain't clean for me. So now you kind of lightening up your little attitude because what you was told is not what's on this paper. Which I don't know how you completely forgot about that. But then again, it's not necessarily forgetting about it. It's more of the society because of I feel like because I'm Caucasian or because I'm not African American or I'm Hispanic, like regardless, I'm better. So whatever I deal with, you should take, which is what happened in the office. You had no experience. You came in, you tore it down, got the experience that you needed, and went to a whole completely different office. And I'm talking about strategic. And you were warned. I warned you. Anyway, so yeah, so it's like now you shifting, like your body has shifted. So now it's like, okay, so what experience do you have? You have my resume, but okay. So yeah, my latest experiences in neurology, I have been there for like a year and a half. Before that, it was what was before neurology, child? Hold on. Family practice. Before that, it was family practice. But most of that wasn't really in back office. I was in the billing area, which I was. I was in the billing situation. And the only reason I left that job was because the girl didn't update the people when it came down to my car insurance. So they came to pick up the car. And he was like, if she would have said that, like we would have never came and got the car. Like you would have had the car. So when they came and got the car, I don't have a way to work. So that's why I lost that job. And even though, yeah, I remember then Leah was like, why didn't you tell me? Because girl, we could have put that on there and you could have paid me back. And I was like, girl, I don't like asking people for nothing. I don't. If I'm asking you, I really need it. And I'm down to the lowest where it's like, I don't see no other way out. I do not like asking people. Even when it came down to my little he hated that. Because he was like, if we vibing, like I'm supposed to make sure you straight. True. But I'm so used to people throwing stuff back in my face. Even when I'm dating, I don't ask for stuff. If you do it, cool. But I don't ask for stuff. If I ask you, I need it. It's the very last resort. And I told him that. And so he did not like that. He did not. He was like, stop thinking that way. And I was like, I don't have a choice. I've been in this mode for so long. And that's the same conversation I was having with my nephew yesterday. I was like, speaking from somebody who's been in trauma, who's been raised in trauma and been in survival mode, like you're always on defense. You're always on defense. You're always on defense. But with me, it's like I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt because I've had therapy and I've done the work. I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt, and then I'm gonna let you F up. I'm gonna let you fuck up one or two times before it's like, oh, okay, this is who you really are. Instead of, oh, it's a mistake. And then, as my homeboy said, like you don't cut them no slack. You be out of here. What am I waiting on? What am I waiting on? Like I'm not gonna keep allowing you to do crazy ish to me. The only reason you're doing crazy ish to me is because I keep allowing it. The hell. So yeah, so it's like I'm explaining my work history, and so she was like, and so she was like, well, this is the system that we're on, which is Greenway. Now, her Greenway was completely different from the Greenway that we used in the neurology practice. So I had used Greenway, but her pulling up the system, it looked completely different, right? So she was like, have you used Greenway before? And so I said, not that version. No. Literally what I said, not that version. No. Now, mind you, again, you have my resume. It clearly states Greenway on the resume, which lets me know you haven't looked at my resume at all. You went off of I'm pretty sure the doctors calling the head doctor, and y'all went off that. And I brought all the paperwork to state to combat what they were saying. Because again, at this point in time, I'm not thinking that there's the issue that you're dragging my career because you have no reason to. But again, when Caucasian women feel intimidated, or I feel like you should be beneath me, or I can't control you, because that was her issue as well, I'm going to bring you down. I'm going to try to destroy you because I'm better. because that's the way y'all were raised. Doing absolutely nothing, but I'm better. Right. Where most of the time, all the time, we don't care. We don't care. We don't. We don't need to blow somebody else's candle out to shine brighter. We are who we are. We want our own. We don't want to replace you. We don't want to even bring you around you. We love our skin. We love our beauty, which is why y'all go above and beyond to try to knock it, to try to say we are not the standard, which is why y'all put y'all all over the place and we pay it no attention. So we go where we are and we go support that. And you realize it's like, so let me go get a token one, or let me pretend so you can get money. And it never works out that way for you. Anyway. So yeah, so I said not that version. And so she was like, okay, so I don't really have much. It's really you just answering the phone, check in, check out. You have experience. I don't really have much. I already realized and noticed that I'm not getting this job. I'm not getting this job. So she's like, well, let's take a tour of the office. So take a tour of the office and we come to this lady who does, she was like, oh, she's basically like the trainer for the front office. And so she introduced me. And so she was like, well, where do you have experience in? I was like, oh, I came from neurology and family practice. And I started naming off like all the other stuff. She was like, oh, you have quite a few experience. And so she was like, as you can see, the interviewing manager, she was like, as you can see, like she has Greenway up. And so she was like, you have experience with Greenway? And I was like, yeah, but, and she was like, you told me no. I said, I told you not that version, which is what I was about to say to her. I said, I use Greenway in the neurology practice, but it doesn't look like that. It's not that version. And so she's like, so you lied to me. No, I told you not that version. And so the lady who was sitting, the training manager, was basically like, she just told you not that version. She was like, yes, there's quite a few different greenways. And so she was like, so it's she's like, so this one you don't have experience with. And I was like, no, it's completely different. It was a whole completely interface. Like it doesn't look anything like that. And when she heard interface, she was like, oh. And so she was like, okay. And so the interviewing manager recognized, like, the training manager was intrigued. She was a Caucasian lady. Again, it's not all of y'all, but it's the majority. So she was intrigued, and you can tell like she was intrigued because it's like, oh, okay, you're trainable. I can catch on quick, basically. And so she was like, oh, and so she looked at, like the hiring manager, and she was like, giving the nod of approval. But I can tell from the interview, because it didn't last long, I'm not getting this job. Mind you, I have already literally paid for parking, peeped what it was, and it was like I don't have the money to waste gas. So every time I'm coming for an interview, I'm hoping like this is the one, this is the one, this is the one, because the money is now running up. Low. Because at this point in time, like, I don't have my car anymore. My car has already been repossessed. And so so by this time, if my car is already repossessed, I had already lost the job at the family practice, and I'm looking to replace that. And so now I'm renting cars, because the picture that I'm going to put in here to show you how my hair was, I'm sitting in a rental car because I no longer have my car, because my car has been repossessed. I already lost my place because, like, this job thing, literally, they did not, according to head doctor, he was going to pay me in that playlist. If you go watch it, he was going to pay me until the end of the month, and he did not do that. She did not do that. You only paid me to the end of the pay period. As that was also when I called my little yeah and told him what was going on, and they also sent him a picture. He had laughed at me. He was like, I thought they like you, huh? And it made me look at him differently, because everything was cool until that. Because I keep saying I listen to people talk. And so it's like, okay. It made me look at him differently. And I started pulling back and withdrawing way more than what I was anyway. Because there was other things that I was noticing. So there's avenues and different levels with me. And then I keep you on, I let you get to a certain point. Excuse me. I let you get to a certain point with me. But then when you start doing certain things, I retract, repull, repossess those privileges. Because there's levels to this. And being raised in trauma, I can turn on and turn off feelings. It's a blessing and a curse. So anyway, so yeah, so it's like I don't have money to waste because you feel a certain type of way. Like if I'm qualified, hire me, hope. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so yeah, so you taking me around the office and you was like, yeah, this is Angel, and like the people are noticing. Like it's like, girl, I did nothing to you. But again, when you've been fed BS instead of getting and trusting your own information, you don't, it is what it is. So I already knew, like, yeah, I'm not getting this job, even though the training manager was intrigued by me with the interaction. So it's whatever. So we get back in the office, and so she was like, why didn't you tell me you had experience with Greenway? I said, well, I told you, not that version. And I said, and it's on my resume. So, are you able to do something different with your hair? My hair is in twists, and I was dressed professionally, and it was professional. And I was like, what's wrong with my hair? Well, it needs to be more professional. It needs to be more professional. Like, I need you to do something different with your hair. Because that's not considered professional here. Mind you, walking around looking at the MAs, they're in braids. The couple of black girls that was there, which was like two, the tokens. Everybody else was Caucasian. So I said, hmm. And when I did that, she looked at me and I said, thank you for this opportunity. Does this conclude the interview? And she kind of, looked back because at this point, I already know, like, you wasting my time, and I know I'm not coming here because you keep trying to say I lied to you when I told you not that version. So she was like, I'll let you know. And did you have any other questions? So I still try to keep it professional. I was like, well, actually, with me, I was like, with my doctor being a doctor here, he's not at this location. He's at the main location. Is that an issue as well? And so she was like, it shouldn't be a problem. I was like, okay, thank you. I don't have any other questions because basically at this point, you're wasting my time. So I get up and leave, and I go sit in the car, and I take a picture and I put it on my Facebook at the time. And this was the Facebook before it got hacked. And I was literally saying, it is so hard for a black woman to keep the wits about herself, or basically keep doing self-esteem, literally. And I was like, what's wrong with my hair? And people was like, girl, your hair pretty. Like, what was going on? Like, what you talking about? Angel were like, quit playing, girl, your twist of tea. And I'm like, yeah, but I was just in an interview and I was told, could my hair be more professional? And so it sparked a discussion. And then you also find out that other African American women are going through that. It's like when I walk in, even when I got here, and my boss is African American, and I asked my boss, can I wear braids here? And she looked at me like, what? And I was like, can I wear braids here? And so she stood there for a minute, like, well, she sat there for a minute because she's in her chair, because I'm literally, this is during the interview. Not during interview, this is during my orientation. And so she was like, why would you think you wouldn't be able to wear braids here? And I was like, oh, you would be amazed. Because the OBGYN job that I had before um before this job, because I got the OBGYN before this job, that was before the contract that I had, the last two contracts actually. The OBGYN job that I had, and she was a Caucasian doctor. It was her own private practice. And she was like, I had asked the manager. The manager was biracial. Her mom was Caucasian, her dad was black. And I had asked her, you know what I'm saying? Because I was getting ready to get twists. Very rare do you see me with braids. I like twists better. And I asked her and I was like, I can rock twist in here, right? And so she was like, and I was like, oh. And so she was like, she's not, too fond of like certain hair weaves and situations. She was like, what does it look like? And I had to pull up on Google what twists look like. Show her. And so she was like, yeah, just make sure like it's black and it's neat and it's professional. Like the hair color is black. Like you can't come in here with colors. Because I even asked my boss here, what about, like, am I allowed to wear colors here? And so she was like, as long as it's professional, and which I've worn certain hair colors, even with my blue, but I always keep my hair neat. You know what I'm saying? It's like I can rock colors, but I can still look neat. And again, I'm not thinking anything because of the family practice that I worked at. In this story time, the Caucasian lady, her actual hair was dyed blue. And when I asked, oh, we can wear blue hair, can I do blue hair here? They told me absolutely not. And I wasn't doing my hair, I was doing the twist, like the extensions was going to be blue. They told me absolutely not. Even though I'm looking at a lady with blue hair, her actual hair was blue. So, yeah. So my boss was like, when I asked her about colors, and so she was like, just keep it professional. Like she was looking at me like astounded to the point where it was like, girl, that's happening to you? Like, yeah, like they go above and beyond to make sure like they are trying some way, somehow to bring you down, to humble you. Even here, even here. It's nothing mentioned about my hair, but it would be certain words or certain things, or your tone changes when you think when we're by ourselves and I'm not recording. So yeah, so once I sparked that on Facebook, there was a whole conversation, and then there was also women saying like, "Ooh, I've had this experience. Ooh, yeah, girl, I know exactly how you feel. Don't let that shake you. Keep going," type situation. Because I felt some type of way, even though like I've experienced racism before. I've been experiencing racism since a long time. I grew up in the country, so and there's certain places there that we don't go at night. So yeah, so it's like, oh, okay. Like I'm used to it. I already knew what it was. But it's like, girl, they gonna turn on you too. You know better. You know better. Anyway. And that is the story time from the interview from hell. Yes, black women go through so much all the time. And then it's like we're getting it from black men, we get it from black women, we get it from all the other races. We always, every time you turn around, we're getting hit. We're getting hit. And we get to a point where we get tired. And so when we react, or as they say, we act aggressively. Oh my God, you're so aggressive. Child, please. Nobody want to hear that BS that you're talking about. Leave me alone. Mind your business. Since I'm so aggressive, I'm so hard to approach, leave me alone. Period. Yeah. Anyway, I love you the most because you're definitely the dopest in real life. And rock your braids, rock your twists. You are absolutely beautiful to my melanin African American black queens. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.